Welcome to 1000 PS, welcome to southern Spain, welcome to a slightly damp Almeria. Now, it's not a world launch of the S1000R and the M1000R. Essentially, what we've done is jumped on the back of a dealer event. BMW UK kindly invited us to come out to test the S1000 and the M1000R. Conditions have not been ideal, they've not been perfect. We're on the standard road rubber, not on race wets, not on race slicks. Hopefully this afternoon, when it perfectly dries out, we'll get to test the M model, which has got the new styling, the new colours, the new headlight and the quick action throttle. But more importantly, I want to stay on the S1000R because we've got a little increase in power up to 170 HP, which is 5 more than previously. Because of that new power, we've got reconfigured electronics and rider aids because you've increased the power. We've got the new styling, the new looks, and we've got the quick action throttle. I think I've remembered everything. So this morning what we've done is absolutely gone out in biblical rain on the standard tyres, which sounds like a crazy idea on a 170 horsepower bike. But in the rain mode, it's coped really well. In the rain mode, you've got lean sensitive ABS, lean sensitive traction control, you've got wheelie control, you've got everything to keep you on the ground. Obviously, you can still crash, you can still lose the front, you can still lose edge grip, and you can still fall off. But with all these rider aids, you can learn the track, develop a little bit of heat, and get used to riding around this great track here in Almeria. And as it's dried out, we've been able to trim the rider mode. So in the last session then, it was still wet, but then I tried the road mode, which obviously changes the suspension, it changes the rider aids, it changes the traction control, it changes the power. Now I've got full power and it's reading 150-ish at the end of this long straight, but more importantly, when I'm coming out the corners, I can feel the traction working, I can play and lean on that traction control. It's really impressive, and that generates more heat in the tyres, that gives you more confidence to push. And by the end of the session, I was actually enjoying riding in damp, tricky conditions on an aggressive, angry, naked horsepower on standard road rubber. Hopefully, it'll dry out this afternoon. This track dries out really fast. We've got a little quick break for lunch. If it gets dry, we can really start pushing the handling limits. We can see what that new power feels like, feel what that quick action throttle feels like, and give you a kind of taster review of the S1000R. And fingers crossed, if it does, I can go out on the really pricey, the big one, the 205 horsepower M Sport. So we're just wrapping up here at 1000 PS at Almeria. The good news is we got to ride the S1000R in almost dry conditions. We got to try the dynamic mode and we got to try and push the handling. The bad news is we didn't get to ride the M1000R, which is kind of like the icing on the cake, but I'll save that for the guys back in the office. Maybe they'll invite me back to a go on that. But as far as the S1000 goes, the conditions were a little bit sketchy and a little bit tricky, which you might be able to see in the video. You could see the bike moving, sliding. But to do that on a bike with 170 horsepower, 5 more than it had previously, that means I felt comfortable with the bike, I felt comfortable with the tyres, and I felt comfortable with the chassis. It's not overpowering. The electronics, the rider aids are really excellent. They've been recalibrated to cope with the extra power, and they cope really well. They are some of the best rider aids you can test on track. I think they really are excellent. To push a bike on road tyres with dynamic mode and dynamic suspension to the limit-ish in tricky, patchy conditions, it's real testament to the BMW and the fact that I felt safe and really enjoyed it. I came in with a big smile on my face and absolutely loved that. It's interesting that this market is also growing quite a lot. If you flick down the videos, I tested the Triumph in Portimao, the 1200 RS, which is 180 horsepower. In a few weeks, I'm going to be over in Andalusia, over there, testing the Street Fighter, the V4S, which is part of the 200 horsepower club, which is probably more comparable to the M. And it's a real interesting group of bikes. We need to jump on the Tuono, because I've not ridden that for a long time, and that's a firm favourite of mine. So this has just been a little teaser. We now know what the differences are. We now know that BMW made a massive step in the appeal and looks and style. I think it looks fantastic in those colours. We know it's a little bit more responsive and it's still got those excellent rider aids and technology. What we need to do is test the M, put it against the competition, and if you've got any technical questions, fire them below. Me, one of the team will get back to you. Click the subscribe button and hopefully I'll see you somewhere a little bit sunnier.